Let's play ball, it's game day. We want strikeouts, base hits, double plays. Take the field, hear the roar of the crowd. Come on, Marlins, make us proud. Come on, Marlins, make us proud. Keep hoping and dreaming and you will soar. With a little faith and love, you will soar. One strike, two strikes, swing away. A diving catch, a stolen base, a perfect game, a triple play, another playoff race. Yes, World Series champs will be. Keep hoping and dreaming and you will soar. With a little faith and love, you will soar. Keep hoping and dreaming and you will soar.
All right, here we are, the official bracket reveal of the first UFFFC tournament. Pull that right up for you right now. There it is. So you can see it's a standard 16-man tournament. Single elimination, one shot. You lose, you're out. You go home, your dreams are ruined, spoiled. So to set this up, I just put everybody's name in a random number generator. We got our results, and I just filled them from 1 to 16. Figured we didn't need to worry about who is the 1 seed, who's the 16. We don't have a ranking system in place yet. That's what this tournament's for. Find out who's the best. So quick, this is the turnout on the RNG. We did it one shot here. You can see everybody's name. We'll quickly go over all the fighters in just a second. But if you want to see this, this is going to be available throughout the tournament. I'll be updating it. You'll see who's in the second round, who's we'll have the finish methods available if you ever want to go back and watch a fight if you weren't able to catch it. But with that said, pretty simple. Let's jump into it. So to show you all the fights here, I quickly made a preview card. This is what we'll use for the fights too, just to run through them. We'll do it one round at a time. So our first fight, number 1 and number 2. Make sure this is popping up for you. Yep. We have Slappy MC with his fighter Embarrassment. I don't know how heavily I want to pronounce his name. And he's going to be taking on Ol Xmad's Jonathan Evil Way McKnuckles. So you'll see the stats here. Embarrassment, a grappler. Jonathan Knuckles going a little different direction, more balanced. You see their fight perks there. It's pretty interesting to see how everyone set up their stats. You see two shorter fighters here, 5'8" and 5'6". As we go through the fighters, you'll see not a lot of people sprung for the extra inches. They wanted their stats on something a little more tangible. So right away you see heavy points, Embarrassment, and grappling. That submission offense 90. We'll see how that plays out throughout the tournament. We'll see who wins out when they put a little bit in everything. It'll be very interesting. We have a balanced fighter and a submission specialist in the first fight. We'll see who wins. Alright, in our second fight, we have TK3's Icelandic Nightmare. I asked him how to pronounce this. He was no help. I'm gonna go with Hoskildur Hofsjörfulafursen. His entire full last name actually did get cut off, which is unfortunate, but I think you guys get the point. His opponent in this first round here, it's gonna be Pickle Rick's choice, Pickle Nova. He is a little bit taller, 5'11". He'll have a 5-inch reach advantage. You can see, or excuse me, a 6-inch reach advantage, 5-inch height advantage. You can see the reach and the height generally correspond, so that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. For Hjolskildur, we have a lot of points coming in at defense there, blocking. Meanwhile, Pickle Rick opted to go with more of a grappling base to another submission specialist. I'm really excited to see how the offensive fighters match up against the defensive, and how the submission specialists match up against the strikers. That seems to be the key, as we have a lot of submission specialists, a lot of strikers. So moving to our third fight here, we have the Orca taking on James with Frankie Fast Hands. Once again, we're going to see a bit of a height difference. The Orca, one of the few people investing points in height. He's fighting out of Germany. Frankie Fast Hands, as you can see, investing 30 points in strike speed. Looking to put combinations together, put the Orca to sleep in a quick way. Not a lot of defensive stats between either of them, though. We'll see how that plays out. It might be a quick finish. Exciting fight right there. Alright, our fourth fight. We have Nazgul with Butterlips, the Cooler O'Coolahan, against Wicker. The King wins. I got the backstory on the King, how he came up with that persona, the game of Big Brother, I believe it was. We'll see if that kind of showmanship plays out through the tournament. Both men 5'8". That's the most common height you'll see. You do have two fighters that invested a lot of points in striking, but also a good amount in defense. So very even matchup here. Butterlips a little bit wild on the personality side. We'll see if that plays out in this fight. Wicker wins, looking to clean house here. All the confidence in the world. Alright. So moving on to the right side of the bracket. We'll pull that up again real quick. So the left side here, we just saw how that'll play out. We'll look at the second half, starting with Phineas Gage. Taking on Captain Golden Winky. Pull the game up again. Alright, hopefully the game wasn't frozen too long there. I'm not sure. I don't think it was. I think we're still good. So, this matchup, we're looking at Thai fighter, Phineas Gage. I don't know if he's his origins are there. I don't know. I don't really see a lot of Thai in his appearance, but it's hometown, and he's fighting out of there, taking on Golden Winky. Once again, you see people who kind of spread out their stat points fairly evenly. Some good defensive investments coming out for Phineas Gage. I think that might play out well. And we'll see if these perks, we'll have to keep them in mind as the fights are going on. See how they weigh into the situation. Some people went pretty aggressive with them. Some people went more defensive. Alright. Pull up the cheat sheet here. Alright, so here we have Randy Marsh, the creation of King Shanjan, taking on Fred Evil Way Frost, Untouchables fighter. You can see two balanced fighters again, looking at the stat spread. No grappling points for Fred Frost, while Randy Marsh has quite a bit. Randy Marsh coming fresh off his tour, fighting baseball dads at Little League games. Undefeated as far as I'm aware. Should be quite the challenger. You see 90 points in power for Fred Frost. He's going to look for the knockout. Otherwise, fairly similar spread in points. So that'll be interesting. A little bit of a balanced submission guy against a balanced striker. We'll have to see how those fights play out. Two of the very first people to submit their fighters here were Bruce Ree. Bruce Ree. Not Bruce Lee. This is the Mexican Bruce Lee, apparently, against Junior the Problem Child. I was a little bit concerned putting a child into the tournament. I've been assured he is 18 of legal age. Both men 5'8", 70-inch reach advantage shared between them. The Problem Child, pretty heavily invested in striking, looking to just put people out. It's all offensive there. Meanwhile, you have a balanced grappler in Bruce Ree. We'll see how much endurance and stamina play a part in the fights. We'll see. There might be a lot of first round finishes and it won't matter too much, or if they go later. It all depends on how the computer plays it out, but no defensive stats really for either of them. So it could be fireworks in this one. Could be a quick finish. Alright. And in our final fight, we have Biggio on Ja Ikari against Connolly the Enforcer Orion from Mookie Monster. Take a look at their stats here. Looks like we're missing a perk on Ryan O'Connolly. Connolly Orion. So we'll fix that before the tournament starts. See a little bit of points invested in height for Connolly Orion. Again, get a big reach advantage. We'll watch that as the fights play out. As a striker, you might be using that. Heavy points invested in his striking. Meanwhile, Ja Ikari, just a few points here. Maybe trying to stay alive long enough. Bring the fight into later rounds. No points in the grappling for Connolly Orion. Might not matter in this fight. Might matter in later ones if he makes it out of the first round. We'll see. And finally, health. No points for Connolly Orion. And you see just a little bit. And now, that in theory, maybe will give somebody an advantage in every stat over their opponent if they invest a few points. But maybe it won't matter. Maybe the stats won't be significant enough to play out. And it'll be the people investing 30 points in a stat that win. We'll have to see. That's the excitement. That's the thrill of the tournament. The tournament, we're going to be running, reading the chat right now, some shit talking going on, Butterlips, not having it from anyone else. So that's the basic tournament. Hopefully not too much of it was frozen here. I'll watch the VOD. If it was, we can always quickly do something, but you guys get the idea. Should be a great show. That's going to be happening Monday night, probably around 7 p.m. start time. We're going to run through the first round, hoping that takes probably about an hour and a half. I think that's a good time for a show. We'll jump into the second round Wednesday, and then from there, from the second round, we're going to go right through to the end of the fights. There'll be 7 more fights on Wednesday, August 1st. So tune in, pull up the bracket again for you. Again, this will be available and updated throughout the tournament. Thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to seeing the fights.